The final revision in Culture 1. MCQ. MCQ about Unit 1. The Early Stone Age. 1. Prehistory means the time. C. Before recorded written evidence of human activity. 2. The three-age system archaeology is divided into C. Stone, Bronze and Iron Age. 3. The Late Stone Age is known for B. The Neolithic Revolution, birth of farming and settled communities. 4. The people of Neolithic period. B. Built massive tombs and temples, advanced houses, and marketplaces. 5. The Brythons and Gaels were A. Celtic tribes who introduced bronze and iron to the province which was later called Britannia. 6. The Stonehenge people were A. Skilled engineers and astronomers. 7. According to old theories, Stonehenge functioned as an observatory. A. People used it to observe the night sky and stars and to decide the time for cultivations, sowing and harvesting. 8. Recent theories and satellite images of Stonehenge say that A. People traveled from faraway areas to Stonehenge in religious pilgrims and offered sacrifices to gods. 9. During the agricultural revolution in the late Stone Age, farmers B. formed settled societies, built temples and advanced houses, and traded crops and goods. Some other important notices about Unit 1. 10. The ancient ancestors of British people are always referred to as Homo sapiens. 11. Early Stone Age people in Britain formed a fragile and scattered population. 12. Early Stone Age people lived in caves and simple shelters. 13. Early Stone Age people are descended from the early humans who had followed migrating herds of mammoth and reindeer onto the peninsula. 14. During the Middle Stone Age, people in Britain developed some hunting technologies, like hand axes, spears, arrow, and harpoons. 15. The separation of Britain from mainland Europe takes place during the Late Stone Age Neolithic. 16. The Stonehenge people left no written records. 17. Houses in the Stone Age were made of stone, wood and whalebone. Asterisk. 18. In the Stone Age, many tribes lived individually, some gathered into small villages. 19. The vibrating stones of which the Stonehenge is made are said to have therapeutic powers. Asterisk. 20. Celtic tribes were mainly farmers and hunters clans. 21. The duty of the Druids was to preserve the heritage of the people. 2. Memorize long heroic poems that preserved the people's myths about the past. MCQ about Unit 2. The Romans. 22. The kings of Britain asked the Roman army, or the Roman general Flavius, to help them against Germanic tribes, or the Anglo-Saxon tribes. But c. Emperor Attila the Hun was keeping the Romans busy and they could not help Britannia. 23. After Julius Caesar defeated the Britons, he made an alliance with them. But between b. unequal people. 24. Before the arrival of the Romans, Celtic Britain was just a primitive, tribal community.
كانت بريطانيا في عهد الكلت قبل مجيء الرومان مجرد مجتمع بدائي ذو طابع قبلي.
25. The Romans tried to invade Britain 3 times, in b. 55 and 54 BC, then 43 AD. 26. Why did the Romans decide to colonize Britain? B. Britain was a source of grains, timber and metals. 27. The most important achievement of the Romans in Britain was B. The construction of a system of military roads which encouraged trade and connected cities. 28. The Romans turned Britain from a tribal community into a developed urban society. Some other important notices about Unit 2. 29. The first Roman expedition to Britain was failed because the Roman legions were immobilized. They had to survive in a coastal zone that was politically hostile. They had to repair their ships first, then go.
فشلت الحملة الرومانية الأولى على بريطانيا بسبب شلل حركة اليالق الرومانية، واضطروا إلى البقاء في منطقة ساحلية ذات طابع عدائي من الناحية السياسية.
30. The second Roman expedition to Britain was failed because of mounting problems in Gaul resulted in the departure of Roman legions from Britain. MCQ about Unit 3. Anglo-Saxons. 31. Around 409 AD, the last legion of the Romans left Britain to deal with domestic problems. Britain was then controlled by B. Petty kings and warlords. 32. King Vortigernus' kingdom was repeatedly attacked by C. Picts and Scots from the north. 33. King Vortigern asked for the help of the mercenary armies of Hengist and Horsa because Britain under repeated attacks and invasions from B. the fierce Picts and Scots from the north. 34. The mercenary warriors, Hengist and Horsa, tricked King Vortigern and took Kent by A. offering him the beautiful daughter of Hengist in marriage. 35. The Saxons formed many powerful kingdoms in Britain. These were C. Wessex, Sussex, Essex. 36. The term Dark Ages in Britain is always connected with the A. Anglo-Saxon invasion. 37. The Anglo-Saxon period was called the Dark Ages because A. it was full of bloody conflicts and wars between barbarian tribes and petty kings. 38. Historians describe King Offa's as a political statement of border delineation. It was the first of its kind in England. 39. In Anglo-Saxon monasteries, monks and nuns were busy with religious duties, and also c. studying, translating, copying, and illuminating the manuscripts of the monastery's library. 40. King Edward the Confessor was the last king of the Anglo-Saxons. 41. The Witan is an Anglo-Saxon council of elders and wise men who elect the king. 42. The Viking were fierce pagan and heathen tribes. When they invaded England, they c. attacked and burnt Anglo-Saxon monasteries, murdered monk, and looted possessions. 43. The Vikings were masters of the sea and the creators of B. the long ship, which was famous for its speed and mobility. 44. The first king to order the translation of manuscripts from Latin to English was A. King Alfred the Great. 45. King Alfred was named the Great because he c. was able to stop the Vikings from taking all England. 47 French King Charles the Simple gave the Vikings lands in north of France to b. stop their attacks and aggression. 48 Before he died, King Edward the Confessor did not leave any b. certified document or a will for a successor to his throne. Some other important notices about Unit 3. 49 Romans were repeatedly attacked and invaded by barbarian raiders. Picts and Scots from the north, and Irish from the west. These tribes were pagan, untouched by Christianity, and were not part of the Roman Empire. 50 After their full victory over the enemy, the Germanic mercenaries decided to stay and expand their dominion over other parts of the land. 51 The Anglo-Saxons are mainly deep-sea fishermen and farmers, hunters, and pirates. They enjoyed seamanship and navigation. 52 The Anglo-Saxon settlers were effectively their own masters, brought their own culture with them, and did little to keep the legacy of the Romans alive. 53 The arrival of the monk, Augustine, turned Anglo-Saxon to Christianity. 54 The Anglo-Saxon tribal system was highly organized based on kingships. A king is elected by a council of elders, the Witan.
كانت المنظومة القبلية للأنجلو-ساكسون في غاية التنظيم، مبنية على النظام الملكي زين.
55 During Anglo-Saxon period, life was mainly agricultural. Herds of cattle constituted the main source of wealth. 56 It was during King Alfred the Great's reign that the monks, on his orders and guidance, began writing the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle. 57 Most of the information we have about the Anglo-Saxons comes from the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle. It is a year-by-year account of all the major events of the time of the Anglo-Saxons, the important battles of the period, and the rise and fall of bishops and kings. 58 Some Vikings settled down in eastern England, which they had made their home for years during the conflict with the Anglo-Saxons. The areas where the Vikings stayed were called the Danelaw. Quote, MCQ about Unit 4. Anglo-Normans. 59 After the death of Edward the Confessor, King Harold of Wessex b. save England from the conflicts and threats and invasion of King Norwayn, Duke of Normandy. 60 Although Tostig was the Earl of Northumbria and the brother of Harold of Wessex, his people rebelled against him and he was finally exiled from England. 61 Tostig was not like his brother Harold of Wessex. He was a bad ruler. His people rebelled against him. He was finally exiled from England. 62 Harold of Wessex was defeated in the Battle of Hastings mainly because the battle in the north with Harold Hardrada and Tostig took its toll on him and his army. 63 Hastings is a very important battle in Britain history because it ended the Anglo-Saxon rule in England and turned it into a French colony. 64 The Bayeux Tapestry is tells the story William of Normandy's big victory over Harold of Godwinson in Hastings. 65 William the Conqueror, or William the Bastard, was the Duke of Normandy. 66 William of Normandy was a just king. He imposed a unified legal system on the government where everyone answers to the same law in all parts of the country. 67 William the Conqueror ordered the writing of the Doomsday Book. It was a. an accurate basis for tax assessment and a survey into the wealth of the England. 68 The feudal system meant that a. William took all English lands away from its Anglo-Saxon owners and divided it among his loyal Norman lords. 70 King Henry I is the third son of William of Normandy. Like his father, he b. was a smart king who succeeded in uniting England and Normandy. 71 King Henry I wanted to win his barons and the men of the church so that they would help him unite England and Normandy. So, he c. abolished abuses, given favors, and made concessions in the Charter of Liberties. 72 The Charter of Liberties was the first proclamation written by a king. c. to limit his own powers and stop corruption. 73 The Norman rule of England had many positive sides because a. there were great developments in economy, the legal system and central administration. Some other important notices about Unit 4. 74 The Normans were descendants of the Vikings who arrived to France in 911. They became very powerful and established a Christian duchy. 155. 75 The most important addition, or rather modification, of the Norman invasion to English society was the system of government, the feudal. 76 After William died, he left Normandy to his eldest son, Robert. He also left England to his second son, William Rufus or William XI. 77 Rufus was not popular with his people. His behavior was proud and ugly. He scorned religion and took delight in cruelty. When Rufus was killed while hunting in the royal New Forest, no one was sorry. 78 To win the Anglo-Saxons, Henry married a Saxon princess.
للفوز باء الإنجل سكسون زوج هنري من أميرة ساكسونية.
79 Henry also started a more efficient treasury system, thanks to the introduction of Arabic numerals, which made taxation more just. Thank you.